Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television this Friday morning. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be taking you through the biggest news stories from India and across the globe, starting with the headlines. India and ASEAN countries to further push 25 years of cooperation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address commemorative summit meeting today. Modi holds bilateral talks with ASEAN leaders who will also be the chief guests at Republic Day parade. Protests in some states ahead of release of Bollywood film Padmavat today. Major multiplex body says the film won't be screened in 4 states. Several schools in National Capital Region shut as precautionary measure. Government unveils a roadmap for banking reforms. Highlights include customers getting back their money in the case of bank fraud, capital infusion based on performance, and special monitoring of loans above 250 crore rupees. National Voters Day today. Rajya Sabha television to begin the telecast of 7 episodes of National Election Quiz conducted by Election Commission of India. Over 13 lakh students across the country participated in the quiz. And India bundled out for 187 in the first innings of the third and the final test at Johannesburg. In reply, South Africa lose 1 wicket for 6 runs. India plays the test match without spinner for first time in 6 years. Our top story this morning, the ASEAN-India commemorative summit will be held in the national capital today, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the opening remarks at the plenary session. The theme for the summit is the shared values, common destiny. The summit is being held to celebrate 25 years of relationship with all 10 members of ASEAN. Now, heads of states of all these countries are joining this event with a view to strengthen cultural and economic ties with India. A joint Delhi declaration is also expected to be released at the end of the summit. And in an unprecedented event, the leaders will also be the chief guests at the Republic parade tomorrow.
The Prime Ministers of Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Thailand, Singapore and the President of Philippines have arrived in New Delhi to participate in the India-ASEAN commemorative summit that begins on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also hold bilateral meetings with all 10 ASEAN leaders on the sidelines of the summit. The ASEAN grouping is important for India to further its Act East policy. The countries also have strong cultural and historic ties.
ये कोई एक रस्म निभाई का छोटा आयोजन नहीं है, दिखने में छोटा जरूर लगता है, लेकिन बहुत महत्व का ये आयोजन है। और ये मैत्री उन 25 वर्षों की नहीं है मित्रों, जिसका हम रजत जयंती समारोह मना रहे हैं। ये मैत्री सदियों पुरानी है, जो रामायण और बौद्ध धर्म से जुड़ी हुई है। अभी भी 20 तारीख से यहाँ रामायण उत्सव चल रहा है। 10 में से 8 देश रामायण का मंचन करते हैं।
Two of the most important aspects of the India-ASEAN relations are regional security and maritime cooperation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the visiting dignitaries will have a special retreat session on these issues during a luncheon at Rashtrapati Bhavan. This will be discussed under the summit's central theme of shared values, common destiny.
Both in terms, of course, political engagement is already ongoing. We have very strong defense ties with specific individual countries, except for Laos, which is a landlocked country. I think we have very strong maritime relations with each of the other 9 countries. We have our Navy ships and our Coast Guard ships that make regular ship visits to each of those countries. When we had held the International Fleet Review, we had a very strong participation from the ASEAN member countries. We have very strong Navy-to-Navy cooperation. We have coordinated patrols with some specific countries. On the defense side, as I told you, we are working very closely with some of them. There are very important programs that are on capacity building as well.
The main summit will take place in the evening on Thursday, when leaders would discuss issues and chart the future course of action. The aim is to enhance cultural and religious linkages, given the fact that Buddhism and Ramayana is the common thread that runs through these countries.
In January last year, by focusing on civilizational and cultural linkages, that itself speaks for itself that, our relationship with the Southeast Asian region is not something new. It has been happening for centuries, for more than 2,000 years. And so what we are really looking at the moment is something that was happening in the past, where it maritime connectivity, which was the main element through which traditional trade, philosophy, literature, people-to-people contact, etc., took place.
The ASEAN countries see India as the balancing force in the region at a time when there are hegemonistic advances from China in the South China Sea. In addition, the Southeast Asian region is economically very vibrant. As India grows at 7.5%, it throws up a lot of economic and commercial potential. The ASEAN region is India's fourth largest trading partner, and India is their seventh largest trading partner.
India and ASEAN share common values, and so there is common destiny. ASEAN is the region which has been endeavoring for peace and prosperity together, and India is their natural ally. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha television with camera person D.K. Pandey in Delhi.
And on the eve of the ASEAN-India Commemorative Summit, the Prime Minister held bilateral meetings with the three ASEAN leaders. The Prime Minister held separate meetings with the State Council of Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi, Prime Minister of Vietnam, Nguyen Xuan Phuc, and the President of Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte. The visiting dignitaries underscored the importance of ASEAN-India relations for peace, security and socio-economic development in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, during the meeting with Aung San Suu Kyi, the Prime Minister held discussions on various issues of mutual interest and ways of further strengthening bilateral ties. They also followed up on key decisions taken during the visit of Prime Minister Modi to Myanmar in September 2017. And Prime Minister Modi and his Vietnamese counterpart expressed satisfaction at the growth of bilateral relations between the two nations within the framework of comprehensive strategic partnership. The partnership is in the fields of maritime cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region, defense, oil and gas, trade and investment. Prime Minister Modi and the Philippines President also reviewed the progress in bilateral relations and in global and regional situations since their meeting in Manila in November 2017. It was agreed to give a further momentum to cooperation between the two countries, particularly in the field of infrastructure development. The leaders also witnessed the exchange of an MOU between Invest India and Board of Investments of the Philippines. All right, Akhilesh Suman is now joining us on the phone line for more details. Akhilesh, now India's Look East policy is to get a major boost at the ASEAN summit today. And especially it is so significant because it coincides with India's concluded 25 years of bilateral ties with ASEAN.
Yeah, right. You know that this is now active. It is Look-East, phase of Look-East is over for India. And now India is acting on East. And in this correction, this is a commemorative summit today. And yesterday there was a very important MOU between Vietnam and India on the issue of cooperation between ISRO and Vietnam remote sensing facility. And it is going to give a stability to the ASEAN nations with India, that they can share data, they can share their issues regarding security. So this is one of the major things that has happened in the night before Prime Minister will be going for formal summit today. And also that with Philippines, there is a very good understanding about promotion of investment. Philippines has said that we will promote investment coming from India, and India also have referred the same type of assurance. So it is going to be again win-win situation with Philippines. So that in this connection, I think today's summit is very important because it will be happening in two phases. One phase is taking place in Rashtrapati Bhavan. That will be a closed door, off-camera meeting among the 10 leaders with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it is based on security and maritime cooperation. So you know that the whole ASEAN nation and even India both share the sea, and sea has been bone of contention in the whole Southeast Asian region, also because the Chinese attitude towards their neighboring countries. And you know that South China Sea has been become bone of contention between China and all major stakeholders in the world, including USA, India, Japan, and all the South Asian countries. So it is going to be a very good discussion, and maybe a very fruitful conclusion comes out of it. And in the evening, when Prime Minister will be meeting formally, and it will be a plenary session, and maybe some announcement is made by the evening, and then Prime Minister will also meet the rest of the ASEAN countries today bilaterally to review the whole bilateral relationship.
And Akhilesh, important thing is, you know, this summit is coming at a time when India is looking for a good regional cooperation in the area, especially because of an aggressive China that has triggered so much of insecurities in the entire region. Under those circumstances, this summit could get that boost, isn't it?
Yeah, naturally. So, since security is one of the major aspects of ASEAN nations, because these are the nations, small nations, and their capacity and capability is also limited. And I have been talking to ASEAN nations, politicians, bureaucrats, and also journalists. They have been favoring that India should make its presence felt in ASEAN region and whole East Asian region because of one factor, that is China is spreading its wings beyond comprehension, and the way China is spreading its naval forces there, everyone is feeling scared and afraid, even though they do have cooperation with China. But they didn't expect that China will start bullying them, and this is
right, Akhilesh. Right. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates there. We'll, of course, keep getting you all the updates on that big story on the ASEAN summit there. And let's take you through some other news now. Government on Wednesday unveiled the plan for the recapitalization of public sector banks. The capital infusion plan for the current fiscal includes 80,000 crore rupees through recapitalization bonds and 8,000 crore rupees at budgetary support. The plan addresses the regulatory capital requirement of all public sector banks. Here are all the details.
The government on Wednesday announced a comprehensive reform plan for public sector banks. The reform agenda will seek to ensure responsible banking, deepen credit takeoff, and financial inclusion along with digitalization.
The problem is of the past, and our role really is not only to find a solution but also to create an institutional mechanism to make sure that what happened in the past is not repeated itself.
According to the roadmap, banks will reorient themselves to support MSME growth. Their recapitalization will depend on performance while focusing on core strengths. PSU banks will identify non-core assets to monetize. Bank exposure to loans on consortiums will be limited to 10%, while loans above 250 crore rupees will undergo special monitoring. Further, banks will be given capital based on performance, customers to get money back if bank defrauds them. Every PSU bank will promote apps for easy opening of accounts, doorstep banking, while annual survey will reveal performance of banks and flag breach of loan rules to lending consortiums.
The induction of the capital, the basis on which the banks are being chosen and how much is being inducted into which public sector banks, that is one part of the exercise.
The annual survey will measure public perception about improvements in access and service quality, and its results shall be made public each year.
The recapitalization and reform agenda is sharply focused on strengthening public sector banks and increasing lending to the MSME sector. Banks with commercially prudent business rules and improved governance are important for creation of a new India. Reporting from Delhi with counterperson Shiv Kumar, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
On to some other news, the second phase of Regional Connectivity Scheme or UDAN will connect 43 airports and helipads in the priority sector of the Northeast and the Hill States. Now, stating this on Wednesday, Aviation Minister Ashok Gajapati Raju conveyed that all 78 airports and the helipads will be connected and 29 seats will added annually to make the aviation affordable and accessible to the common man.
Civil Aviation Minister Ashok Gajapati Raju on Wednesday announced the results of the second round of bidding under regional connectivity flights. Unlike round 1, phase 2 received proposals from helicopter operators, Jet Airways, Indigo, Pavan Hans and many other aviation companies also backed aviation routes.
In this round, we have received proposals from 17 bidding entities. A total of 196 proposals were received, including 55 at the counter bidding stage. These proposals are covering 502 routes. Probably this scheme is getting the desired results, which will not require any form of subsidy after some time.
The states with maximum airports and helipads that will see activation under UDAN 2 scheme include Uttarakhand with 15, Uttar Pradesh with 9, Arunachal Pradesh with 8, Himachal Pradesh with 6 and Assam and Manipur 5 each. Passenger airfare for 1 hour journey of 500 km on a fixed wing aircraft or for 30-minute journey on a helicopter will be capped at 2,500 rupees.
UDAN 2, we are even happier because it has addressed our problem of what we call difficult areas, basically the hilly tracts where the road connectivity is a little low or probably there's no train connectivity.
UDAN 1 and 2 is expected to cost the government over 800 crore rupees. UDAN stands for Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik and is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's brainchild to bring flight services to the common man. The routes are awarded to airlines seeking the lowest amount of funds from the government.
Since the rollout of the Regional Connectivity Scheme, the government has tried to add more than 56 airports to the aviation map in last 2 years, in contrast to just 76 airports in last 70 years. Domestic air traffic in India crossed the 100 million mark in 2017, and the government aims to increase the number of flights to 30 crore by 2022 with the help of this ambitious scheme. Reporting from Delhi with counterperson Shiv Kumar, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And President Ramnath Kovind will address the nation on the eve of 69th Republic Day today. The address will be broadcast from 7 p.m. on the entire national network of All India Radio and telecast all over channels of Doordarshan in Hindi, followed by English. Broadcast of the President's address in Hindi and English on Doordarshan will be followed by broadcast in regional languages on the regional channels of Doordarshan. AIR will broadcast regional language versions from 9:30 p.m. on its respective regional networks. Rajya Sabha Television will also telecast the President's address. And today is National Voters' Day. President Ramnath Kovind will give away Electoral Practices Award 2017 to district collectors, SPs and other officers involved in the election machinery. The Election Commission is conducting a unique quiz contest to make the children of the country aware of the democratic process and the election procedures. Over 13 lakh students from all across the country participated in the initial rounds of the National Election Quiz, out of which 72 students have qualified for the semi-finals. And the semi-finals and the final rounds of the National Election Quiz will be telecast every week on Rajya Sabha Television.
Proud participants in a very unique competition in the Rajya Sabha TV studio. These students have come from different states and union territories after qualifying for the semi-finals of the National Election Quiz. Presented by Rajya Sabha Television, this one-of-its-kind quiz contest was conducted by the Election Commission of India.
Let's start the National Elections Quiz.
The students were selected from government schools run by the centre and state governments from across the country. As many as 13.5 lakh students from 48,000 schools took part in the contest. After passing multiple rounds at school, district and state levels, 36 teams with 72 contestants made it to the semi-finals. The contestants will be asked questions on election procedure, governance, election laws and history of the Indian Republic. They will also be quizzed on election procedures in other countries. Rajya Sabha television will televise the semi-finals and final rounds of the contest. Every week, one team out of the 6 semi-finalists will be shortlisted for the finals. The finals will showcase a contest between 6 top-performing teams. The champions will get a prize of 1 lakh rupees. The first runner-up team gets 80,000 rupees and the second runner-up gets 60,000 rupees. Teams standing 4th, 5th and 6th will get 50,000 rupees each. The quiz aims to make students aware of the election process and democracy, especially those in the age group of 14 to 17 years of age. Rajya Sabha television will telecast the semi-finals and final rounds of the National Election Quiz every Sunday at 9 a.m., 3:30 p.m. and every Saturday at 5 p.m.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Wednesday said that it is the biggest challenge which the country is facing, and every countryman should rise above all consideration to come together to completely eradicate it. Now, he was addressing the 4th Raju Memorial Lecture marking the Raising Day function of the National Investigation Agency. The Vice President said that in a democracy, power comes not from the barrel of a gun, but only the ballot can decide the victor. Without naming Pakistan, Naidu said that despite efforts by our neighbor, India will never get divided.
The only effective way to tackle globally active terrorist individuals and outfits is through international cooperation. This can be done by developing uniform standards and norms for internet service providers and technology companies with the nation states facilitating information sharing to fight against terrorism.
Meanwhile, the Vice President also interacted with the members of National Blind Cricket team and its captain at his residence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave National Bravery Awards on Wednesday to 18 children, and awardees include 7 girls, with 18-year-old Nasia of Uttar Pradesh getting the coveted Bharat Award. The prestigious Geeta Chopra Award was given to 14-year-old late Netravati M. Chavan. 16-year-old Karanbir Singh of Punjab was given the Sanjay Chopra Award. 3 children were awarded posthumously. Now, speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the acts of these brave hearts will inspire other children and will help them in overcoming difficult situations. The children will participate in the Republic Day parade as well, and President Ramnath Kovind will also host a reception in the honor of these children at the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
जब इन वीर बालकों के विषय में देश भर के लोग जानते हैं, तो और बालकों को भी एक प्रेरणा मिलती है। प्रेरणा ये तो नहीं होती कि हर कोई साहस करे, लेकिन एक विश्वास पैदा होता है, अपने आप में विश्वास पैदा होता है। अगर अवसर आए तो कैसे काम करना, किस प्रकार से अपने बुद्धि चातुर्य का उपयोग करना।
And Bollywood film Padmavat is slated for a nationwide release today, and protests have been reported in some states demanding stopping the release of the film. The president of Rajput Karni Sena, Lokendra Singh Kalvi, has said that if the film is released, a nationwide curfew will be called. He claimed that not only Rajasthan but also people of Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana and Bihar are also against the release of the movie. Major multiplex body has also said that it will not screen the film in 4 states. Now, these include Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Goa. Directions have been issued to concerned police stations to provide security to all cinema halls. Meanwhile, several schools have also been closed till further orders across Delhi, NCR and Gurugram.
जिन सामाजिक संगठनों का प्रतिनिधित्व करने का सौभाग्य मुझे प्राप्त हुआ है, मैं उन सब सामाजिक संगठनों से किसी धोखे में नहीं आए, जनता कर्फ्यू लगा के रहें। सौभाग्य से गुजरात, राजस्थान, हरियाणा, मध्य प्रदेश और उत्तर प्रदेश जनता कर्फ्यू और बिहार जनता कर्फ्यू की ओर अग्रसर हो गए।
पद्मावती को लेकर के सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पहले भी आदेश दिया था और 4 राज्यों पर जो हमने बैन लगाया था उसको नुकसान, हम रिव्यू पिटीशन में भी गए, लेकिन वो भी हमारी कल खारिज हो गई। अब हमें कानून व्यवस्था बनाए रखना हमारा अपना कर्तव्य है, उसको हम पूरा करेंगे। लेकिन हमने आंदोलनकारियों से भी प्रार्थना की है कि लोकतांत्रिक तरीकों से अगर आप विरोध करना चाहो तो जरूर करो, हमें कोई एतराज नहीं।
On to sports news now. South Africa will resume their first innings on the second day today in the third and final test match against India. On Wednesday, the hosts were 6 for 1 with the batsmen Dean Elgar and Rabada on the crease. Now, India were bundled out for 187 runs in their first innings. India have already lost the series with defeats in the first 2 tests and will be looking to avoid a whitewash. Batsman Cheteshwar Pujara has described the Wanderers wicket as one of the toughest that he has ever played on, and he asserted that his side has enough runs on board as the pitch would only get tougher to bat on. On to news from the world of badminton, and players Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu will play in the Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament at Jakarta today. Saina Nehwal will face China's Chen Xiaoxin, while Sindhu will take on Malaysia's Goh Jin Wei. On Wednesday, Saina and Sindhu made a positive start to the new season with contrasting wins in the women's singles in the second round of the tournament, while Saina Nehwal defeated China's world number 7 Chen Yufei 22-24, 21-15, 21-14. PV Sindhu beat Indonesia's Hana Paramtini 21-13, 21-10. And news from the world of from tennis, news from the Australian Open in men's singles. The world number 2 and defending champion Roger Federer has advanced to the semi-final with a straight sets victory over Thomas Berdych 7-6, 6-3, 6-4. Federer will now face Hyung Chong of South Korea on Friday. In another match, Kyle Edmund has reached the semi-finals, beating a third seed Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria 6-4, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. Edmund will now face Marin Cilic today. Meanwhile, in the mixed doubles, India's Rohan Bopanna, along with his Hungarian counterpart Taimia Babos, reached the semi-finals, beating Colombian Juan Sebastian Cabal and Abigail Spears of the US 6-4, 7-6. Rohan Bopanna and Babos will take on the winners of the other quarter-final between Australian duo of Storm Sanders and Mark Palmans and a Spanish-Brazilian combination of Maria Jose Martinez Sanchez and Marcelo de Molin in the semi-finals. And ahead of the Republic Day, the Rashtrapati Bhavan has been illuminated. The North and South Block too have been lit up. Remember, India will celebrate its 69th Republic Day tomorrow. We leave you with these visuals. Thanks so much for watching.